Hey everyone, John Paul Maines here. Um, Glad to see y'all again. I am the chief scientist over at Click Laboratory, where we're trying to bring you great ideas on how to grow your business and take the guesswork out of marketing. So today I am going to be discussing why you need to do conversion optimization. This is a really big topic that I love to focus on, but I'm going to just focus on just the whys right now. Just the whys, not necessarily get into all the details of how to go about doing this. I've talked about it in some of my previous ones, talking about the grunt test. But for now, we're going to focus on the whys. Okay, so let's dive into this a little bit. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so I have, whoops, I need to hide something there. There we go. All right, so I've got a little web page here. We built a calculator to kind of help you out understand the reasons behind this. So we're going to focus specifically on B2B. B2B and e-commerce, there's a lot of differences here. And I've got a lot of B2B customers out there. In the future, I'll focus on the e-commerce side, but for now, let's just dive into this. So here's the whys. Let's say, we're got your average website, maybe you've got about 5,000 visitors coming to your site monthly. Okay, you may have more, you may have less, and we want to say, okay, you know what is the dollar value of that? So I'm going to enter that here, $500. Let's just say it's $500 for now. Hopefully, a lot of you, especially in the services industry, are charging more than that. We've got a current conversion rate floating about 1.5. That would be the number of people, the percentage of people that are filling out a form on your site based off the total number of people that are coming in. Okay, so you may say 1.5, I wish I had 1.5. Or you may be like 1.5, that's nothing. Depends on your industry, depends on what you're selling. Services like what we do here, it's a much more difficult sell. So I'd love 1.5. Now, let's crank this down just to kind of take a look at this. And so if we're converting 1.5% of our total visitors, we should be getting in 75 leads on a monthly basis. Okay. And without any growth, 75 leads at $500 a month, what we're probably looking at here is you're closing about, and then if we've got a close rate, let's just say we've got a close rate of 10%. That's not horrible, that's not great, it's just somewhere in between. Let's say you're closing about 8 of those on a monthly basis, which means that you are earning $4,000 a month for $48,000 a year. Well, that's obviously not enough money to run a company. So, we've obviously got to do a lot better than that. So hopefully maybe your close rate is for these kinds of services are a little bit higher. All right, that's getting a little bit up there. Let's say, we do what's closer to the average. And, that's not too bad for an itty bitty little B2B business. All right. So if we start adjusting, make an improvement on the conversion rate. So what we're talking about here is improving the number of people who are going to be filling out a form on your site. And that may be changing up your form, it may be changing the language, it may be changing site layout and things like that. Whatever it takes, and this is a lot of A/B testing, whatever it takes to crank it up. So if I just crank this up by 50%, crank this rate, 1.5 by 50%, we're going from 75 leads a month to 113 leads a month, okay? Leaving our close rate basically the same, and what we're looking at is a pretty significant difference in this. So we're pretty much just going from 1.5 to, what is that, about little over 2%. I'm not a math whiz off the top of my head, but you get the idea. Small percentages can make a huge boost in your business, okay? So let's maybe look at this a little bit closer. Let's say you're more in the services industry and an average customer is worth $3,000 to you. Okay, we're not changing the total number of people coming in. We're just changing out this amount. And what we're looking at here is, okay, still we've got all the same numbers here, but we're going from a $800,000 business to a $1.2 million business. all by doing simple changes to the website to try and convert more people. All right. Well, let's say that's a tough sale, and your conversions are more along the lines of like, let's crank this down. It's so nitpicky. All right, 0.5. Okay, so 0.5 that audience. Even at 0.5, we're looking at is not a bad business. But even if you're moving that needle by from basically 0.5 to 1%, we're talking about an enormous increase in your business. This is why you do conversion optimization. Okay, that's why this is so important. Now I'm going to switch back over to my view here. So basically, this is why we do conversion optimization. This is why you really, really want to focus on it and make it an ongoing thing constantly in your business. So, a lot of companies, they'll overhaul their websites every few years simply because technology has changed so much or what have you. Or executives change or business or the product changes, who knows what. Lots of things change over time. But if you get in the habit of constantly testing every change, and so rather than one big change every few years, you're constantly making iterative changes over time, what you're going to find is that you're going to be way ahead of somebody who's going to be redoing their website every few years because you're constantly gaining, constantly improving, constantly increasing that conversion rate over time. And even though it might be a little bit more expensive to do it that way, the growth in your business is going to be enormous. Because you can't deny these numbers. You move those conversion rates, even small percentage points make an enormous difference to your business over time. And so that's what I'm saying is that conversion optimization isn't like, something I want to try every so often. It's something you want to make it part of your development process, part of your publishing process, part of your marketing process. Testing everything, testing how you're getting customers, testing how you're converting those customers, and seeing what can be done in order to drive these revenues up. Because you're going to, if you do, by doing this conversion optimization strategy, by making it part of how your marketing team actually works, the benefits to the company's bottom lines are, as you can see, tremendous. So focus in on this. So I'm going to switch back over here. Just real quick, some of the tools. So some of the tools I like using, if you've got the budget, is using tools like Hotjar that are going to do screen recordings and heat maps, scroll maps, all sorts of different things in order to understand how people are actually interacting with your site, so you can make decisions on what are going to be things which I actually want to test. See what things I can actually improve. And when I say a test, I'm talking an A versus a B test. So let's test this message versus this message versus that message, seeing what works better to increase engagement. Changing up the forms, changing up their layout, let's add trust elements like, hey, here's our customers actually onto a conversion form. Does it have an impact? Even those small percentages. So you're probably going to gain like a 0.1, 0.01 percentage improvements here and there with all your different tests. But if you're doing it a whole bunch, it eventually adds up to greater numbers, which impact the bottom line. And so Hotjar is a great tool to use in order to understand how people are actually interacting with their site. Now, when it comes to doing actual A/B tests, if you have the budget, I recommend, there's plenty of them out there, but I strongly recommend, I like using VWO. This is a great service. You can do a lot of really creative stuff without programming. Now, you can use programming. You want to get into really complex stuff. If you've got like some really, a lot of traffic coming to your site, then you can do some really cool stuff. But just for out of the gate, VWO is awesome. And if you want just free, Google has a product called Google Optimize, which is free for doing A/B testing simple stuff on your site to seeing what works better. All right. So coming back over here. So it's as simple as that. Okay. You have to start out somewhere. Start simple. Let's get this going. Let's start this process. What does it look like? How does it look for your content team, for your design team, your UX team, to start taking a look at using these tools for trying to understand how do people interact with your website? or your app or wherever people are coming to. Doing these A/B testing to start finding that out. And when you start getting those wins, you're actually implementing these wins on the website and getting iterative improvements in conversions so that you can start getting those growth numbers on up there. All right, so this was a really short one today. Hopefully it was useful. This is why you do it. You want to go from being barely in business to just exploding as a business. Start using conversion optimization. And I'm going to dig into this in my other webinars, these other live streams. So check out my channel, subscribe to it. Subscribe to Neil Harrow on LinkedIn, and hopefully you'll get some great advice that you can use to grow your business at the end of the day. So I'm John Paul. See you next time.